Right, so we're about to take a look at something which is featured in one of the previous videos, but didn't speak about it directly itself, and that is this, my other guitar. This one is an Aria Pro 2 XL series. Not exactly sure how old it is. I've had it for the last 15 years. I bought this when I was 11 years old. Paid about £140 for it if I remember correctly, and bought that second hand. I think they were probably about £300 or £400 from new, so it was a pretty decent guitar. In terms of the overall sort of product, if I was looking at it as a sort of from a product standpoint, fairly good. There's a couple of complaints that I've got with it in terms of the dials here, the volume and tones dials and the pickup selectors. While they work, they're pretty crackly. They're not the greatest quality ones out there. Quite easily swapped for a better quality unit, but would have been nice if that wasn't necessary. The pickups produce a decent tone. Could do with being maybe swapped out for something a little bit more premium, but this is a sort of now a secondary guitar for me, so not too overly concerned, but it still does produce a nice sound. It's got a Floyd Rose patent sort of copy bridge here, so it's got the whammy bar, which lets you get yourself like a little bit of a sort of like the old whammy effect on there. Pretty nice. You can unscrew that and get it out of the way if it's not going to be necessary for the sort of music that you're playing. One little disadvantage with this particular one is I can't lock off the saddle here, so if I am using, or if I'm going to keep the whammy bar attached and I do accidentally sort of knock against it, it's going to give you that sort of little effect. Other than that, there's a couple of things that are quite well thought through. There's on the back here where you've got the machine heads for, you've got a couple of little points here where you can, these were originally, I didn't find out until much later, for attaching a couple of Allen keys, which you need to slacken off these little nuts up here, which pin down the strings. Because it's got a Floyd Rose type bridge, you actually adjust the tuning from these little dials on the bottom here, rather than using what you would traditionally think you would use, these machine heads up here. A couple of quality issues aside from these that I've experienced. The little sort of points here where you'd attach your strap to, one of these fell off, so I needed to reattach that. But other than that, the finish it's got a really nice solid finish on there. I mean, I've bashed this around quite a bit. Like I said, I've had this from a young age, so I wasn't too worried about looking after my possessions at that age. So it's been dropped a few times, bashed around a few times, but it's stood up to that pretty well. Overall, for the money that I paid for it, I think it actually makes a great guitar, and I would definitely recommend one of these as a used buy.